So this is the basic drawer construction. I have the front of the top left hand side drawer. I've marked it out along the edge. I'm going to place 4 pocket holes on either side and then screw through into the side of the drawers, which will be attached to the runners and will give me my drawer. Try not to block this hole up because that's where the shavings come through and they need to get out. Take this. I've got the collar set to the right depth for the material that I'm using. I've got the jig set in the right position. So once it's all clamped in, all you need to do is drill. There we go, 1 pocket hole. Right, so I'm going to repeat that process on all of the markings here and on all the markings on the back and the other drawer, and then we'll have a look at putting them together. All of the drawer fronts and backs pocketed. The next thing to do is to run a groove to house the drawer bottom along the insides of all the edges. What I thought I'd show you now is how I would put the drawers together, seeing as I've pocket holed them all, so I don't know if you can see that. So this is the back of the smaller drawer on the top. I've got 4 pocket holes in either side. The edges will run along here. I've rebaited the groove to take the MDF bottom, so that fits snugly in there like that. And although it's all MDF and I would rather use plywood for this, I'm just using what I've got, and these drawers will be strong enough for the use. So I'm going to now put the drawer together. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to just wind the screws in without the glue on the joint first. I'm going to get a dry fit, see how they are in the runners. They should be fine. Then I'll take it apart, put some glue in and put it back together. Now, there is a clamp you can get to do this, to make the piece stay square to the edge so it doesn't drag away. I don't have it. So I'm just going to wind the screw in to start at the top, and then I'm going to put one in at the bottom, applying pressure down so that it doesn't move too much. I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go. Now I'll wind the other screws in as well. I've got a little bit of an overhang here, but I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I can take that off with the trim bit on the router, you know, with the bottom bare, and just run it along there and flush it up before I put the false fronts on. So I'll get these all screwed in and then I'll give it a dry fit in the drawer space. Okay, I'm just going to wind the last 2 in at the top here for the dry fit on this side. I'm going to have to learn how to edit because there's a lot of faffing about involved here. This impact driver is perhaps a little bit too brutal for this particular job. I'll perhaps use a smaller one if I have one available. Okay, so to install the drawer runners, what I've done is just taken a line 20mm from the bottom, transferred it across to the back, laid the fixings for the runners across that centre line, and then because it's MDF and I'm using countersunk screws, I've centre punched along the line where the fixings are. These are pretty common drawer runners, and if you were to use them, I would suggest using pan heads rather than countersunk. You just get a little bit more adjustment on the fixings. The countersunk, because of the shape of it, tends to pull it one way or the other. But that's all I've got, so that's what I'm using. So we'll get this screwed in and fit the drawer. Okay, so that's the top 2 drawers fitted, running nice and smooth. I'll do the same for the second 2, and then I think I'll glue them all up together and probably leave them overnight and put them in the morning. That'll be this part of the project done. It'll essentially be a blank canvas then, and I'm going to have to work out what to do next. It's going to have false fronts on it, and I'm thinking about doing the herringbone pattern on there, covering up some plyboard with some oak or any other timber that I can get my hands on. It's been done quite a few times before on YouTube. I like the effect and wouldn't mind having a go at it, and it's a relatively cheap way of getting a nice effect on a piece of furniture, and this is a budget build, so that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Perhaps one other thing, just to mention, although I'm using the Kreg jig, I'm actually using the UJK screws that I get from the local Axminster store. There's one just around the corner from me. So a lot of the supplies that I use will come from there. We've obviously got machinery in here that we can already use. We've got Festols and Makitas and DeWalt's and other things like that. But I think because of the idea behind the channel, to start off with, I'm going to look at simple, cheap projects that can give you good, usable product for your home.